Let's talk about the CNN Telemundo debate. So when it comes to who won, this is tough for me. I thought that both Donald Trump and Marco Rubio performed exceptionally well. I would probably give the edge to Donald Trump. I think that Marco Rubio had a lot of great moments in the debate. He was a lot stronger. He came off as a lot less robotic this time. But I think Donald Trump won, and I'm going to tell you why. So the reason why Donald Trump won is because whenever he actually got the crowd worked up, it was more genuine. When Marco Rubio got the crowd worked up, they seemed really overly enthusiastic, right? And Donald Trump pointed out the fact that there are special interests and lobbyists in the audience who are rah, 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 Marco Rubio. So everything he says, you have this huge overreaction, even for things that weren't that great. I mean, he had some great moments. Like when he said that Donald Trump repeats himself, he says, we're going to win, we're going to build a wall. That was a great moment, and it was absolutely true. That's something that I criticized Donald Trump for. But I mean, some of the other moments, just an overreaction from the crowd, and you could really tell that that wasn't genuine enthusiasm. That was the establishment shills trying to hype up Marco Rubio and make it appear as though he's generating a lot more excitement, when in actuality, Donald Trump is the one who's dominating in terms of excitement. I mean, he's crushing them. He won by a landslide in New Hampshire and Nevada and South Carolina. He's steamrolling through the primaries right now. I mean, he's basically unstoppable at this point. So don't try to tell me that people aren't inclined to hear what Donald Trump says and that the message that he's saying isn't resonating with them. That's BS. So Donald Trump is correct to point out that Marco Rubio has a bunch of people from the establishment in the audience cheering for him. Now, it was basically the anti-Donald Trump show. We had predominantly Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz going back and forth attacking Donald Trump, but a lot of the attacks that they did on Donald Trump, I don't think they're going to work. They were basically pro-Trump attacks. Like, Ted Cruz literally attacked Donald Trump for saying that he wouldn't allow citizens to die in this country. He literally attacked him for this. Donald Trump didn't concede to a Medicare for All system, but he said, I'm not going to allow anyone to die as president. And Ted Cruz attacked him for it. Oh my God. I've never seen anything so idiotic, so stupid in my entire life. Ted Cruz, he's bought off. So when he talks, he's talking for his donors. He's talking for the billionaires that fund his campaign. He's talking for the health insurance industry, when Donald Trump, he doesn't take their money. He tried to get their money, but they didn't want to give it to him. But he's a self-financed candidate. So he's not beholden to these corporate interests. That's why his message is resonating. That and the racism. But there's a really huge populist message to Donald Trump when it comes to him being anti-establishment, to him hating Republicans, or excuse me, to him hating politicians more generally. And these guys don't know how to respond to that. They don't know how to be less robotic like Ted Cruz. Everything he says is robotic and rehearsed. Marco Rubio, same thing. This time, thankfully, he toned that down. Now, another thing I wanted to address was Ben Carson. He consistently whines about not getting time, but dude, this is a debate. You have to chime in if you want to get time. And the moment when he said, "Can someone please attack me?" I know he was just, being tongue-in-cheek, but that was basically his please clap moment of the campaign, like Jeb Bush. Dude, you have to jump in. You're just not assertive. He's someone who's not presidential, and he's got to be dropping out pretty soon, right? I mean, you can't continue to go on if you're not going to win. John Kasich, he's someone who is logical by Republican standards. We all know that, he's a crook and that he basically gutted welfare in Ohio, but, with respect to everyone else, he's a moderate. He has a moderate stance when it comes to marriage equality. He has a moderate stance when it comes to immigration. But that's his downfall. You've got a crazy right-wing base who want blood. They're blaming all their problems on minorities, on Muslims, on Mexicans and whatnot. And Kasich is not tapping into that because he's smart enough to know that that's going to hurt him in the general. Nobody else is smart enough to discern that fact. Now, a really important point was brought up. So Donald Trump would not win the Latino vote in a general election. I don't think that would be the case. But could he still win the general? Unlike Mitt Romney, even if he doesn't have the Latino vote. If he's up against Bernie Sanders, he'd get his ass whooped. But if he's up against Hillary Clinton, I mean, think about this. Turnout for Democratic primaries, like Nevada, are lower than in 2008. And if young people don't get out to vote to support the Democratic Party, if independents end up flocking over to Donald Trump, an anti-establishment candidate, this could be detrimental for the Democrats come November. But in the same respect, I don't necessarily think that Donald Trump has it wrapped up if Hillary does become the nominee and he becomes the nominee, because he's anti-establishment. Hillary Clinton is clearly pro-establishment. So I think that you would have a lot of right-wing donors migrate over to Hillary Clinton's campaign and try to bankroll her and try to help her and push her to the presidency, because they don't want Donald Trump. I mean, he might be a billionaire, and most likely he's going to get in and, give more tax cuts to billionaires and whatnot. But they can't predict that. He's saying some things that are populist. He's saying things on foreign policy that are to the left of Hillary Clinton. Like, he's staying neutral on the Israel and Palestine conflict. Hillary Clinton's taken a side. I mean, he is against intervening, abroad. And look, with Libya, of course, it was the case that he said that we should topple the Gaddafi regime or something of that likes. He supported intervention in Libya, but he's not saying that now. And I think that for a lot of people who are still frustrated that the Iraq war is still going on, that could resonate in the general. So Donald Trump at this point is unstoppable. So in terms of the debate, I think he probably had the edge, but I don't think it even matters at this point. No matter what happens to the debates, Donald Trump might just steamroll his way to the nomination.
Thanks for watching the Humanist Report. Don't forget to subscribe and check us out at humanistreport.com.